Thanks for staying with us. Now, the role of money in politics and vote buying in the Nigerian political system today has paved way for political middle class in the country to dominate and occupy key elective and appointive political positions in the country. These political lords and their lieutenants will then control the power of the state and in turn authoritatively decide who gets what, when, and how. Money seems to have taken a center stage in the political process in many countries in Africa and Nigeria in particular. It is sad to note that money now plays an increasingly critical role in the political and electoral process to the extent that the word money politics with a judgmental connotation has crept into the country's political lexicon. Now, the problem with this situation is that the electoral process is often compromised, resulting in elections not being free and fair. And the worry, however, is the noticeable corruption, influence of money politics, vote buying, and voting behavior, and their negative impact on the country's political prospects. So as we move towards 2023, with the current economic trend, the economy is not smiling on us right now. How will financial power influence voters' decision-making? And that's the question for tonight. Please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join this conversation. Tweet at us at WeShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WeShow, or you send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. All right, so Jennifer, and we have Uti now. Uti has joined us. We finally caught her. Uti, let me hear your 1 cent, 1 kobo inside this matter. Before I bring in our guest. Uti, I've not heard from you, so let me start with you.
Well, I hope you can hear me first.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Awesome. Okay, so when we talk about this, I think I was talking to you about it before the show, that my mindset around this, when it comes to politics, when it comes to Nigerians in particular, and money, is all that comes to mind is Jacob and Esau. When you are in a hurry, when you are hungry, when you are tired, whether that is impoverished, whether that is illiterate, whatever you want to call it, bottom line is, you sell the future for what you can get in your hand today. So I'm hungry, give me the stew, give me I'll give you my birthright. And as they say, that's the end of the story. And I find that that's where we are now, that my greatest worry is, in as much as we, and I think every single Nigerian can admit, even if they won't admit it publicly will admit to themselves in their quiet times, that we're in very unusual times where truth is practically now stranger than fiction. And really, I ask the question all the time that, how do we even get to 2023? It's still 2021, and it beggars belief what we see today. So how do we even get to 2023? But I know that when we get to 2023, all of this being not just said, but actually lived and experienced, there are people who will still throw it away, all for the immediate benefits of some financial gain.
All righty. Okay, so let me hear, Jennifer. Are you going to sell your vote? Are you economically empowered enough not to sell your vote?
With what the current government has shown me, I don't think so. I think the problem we have in Nigeria is education. I don't mean going to school or anything, it's educating the general public about politics and what they should expect from
Of what use is education when there's hunger in your stomach?
Now, I understand there is hunger, but then the truth is, when you tell somebody, okay, Tinubu was sharing what? I don't know if he was the one, but someone on his behalf was sharing a bag of rice. How long will that bag of rice last you?
Okay.
I think that's the question people need to start asking themselves. They're going to give you 10,000 naira to sell your vote. How long will it last you?
That question can only make sense to someone that can see and has the capacity to make money. That he knows that I can earn this, I can buy this bag of rice myself. Do you get?
I get you. I understand totally, because I've put myself in their shoes countless times. That if a governor comes now and then he gives me a bag of rice, and I know that right now I don't have a bag of rice to feed my family, I will collect the rice. But will I vote for you?
Okay.
No.
All right, so let me bring in our guest. Our guest today is no stranger to the show. Olakunle Soriyan is a polymath, an iconoclast, a catalytic thought leader, keynote speaker whose expression spans across the globe as he influences and shapes culture. And Olakunle Soriyan. Let me just keep our other matter in the other matter. Thank you so much. And he's joined us live in studio. So he's not in the US today, he's in Nigeria. All right, so thank you so much, PK, for joining us.
You're most welcome. It's a pleasure for me to be here. Complete pleasure.
Oh, PK gives me heart attack all the time. Thank you so much. I know you are very, very busy, but you made the time to come in here, so we do not take it for granted. Thank you so much. But you know, when I saw this topic, honestly speaking, I couldn't think of a better person to have this conversation with, because this is something you talk about all the time, that, you know, when there's hunger in the land, you can't be telling somebody that is hungry to think rationally and vote. And I mean, Uti is saying that why are we talking 2023 or in 2021? I'm saying that have we ever planned, you know, towards an election? I think, you know, more than ever before, 2020 taught all of us to learn to start to have those conversations early enough. So maybe somebody that is watching might not take better decisions, you know, when 2023 eventually gets here. But your own summation, I mean, the role of financial empowerment, you know, in voters' decisions, you know, how would this play out, especially with the current economic state?
Yeah, you know, first of all, I mean, that election will happen in 2023 is a symposium discussion. I mean, as a futurist, I watch trends and I create scenarios based on prevailing trends, right? And there are options in 2023 that transcend the limits of elections, but that is symposium discussion for another day, I guess. So I do honestly empathize with Jennifer, you know, and her optimism about, you know, the ease of education and people, you know, taking the money and not voting. There's a lot of instruments that go with it's not just about taking money. So you're also accountable for the money you take. So the idea of taking the money and not voting is pretty much low resolution. There is really higher resolution to this conversation that transcends all of that. You know, but when you look at it, I really don't see the type of solution that we would love to see a conscious masses who are taking decisions at a level by 2023. I'm not sure election will happen in 2023. I'm not sure if it's not going to happen, but I know one thing that will happen. We are going to, whether it happens or not, the masses are going to play a key role in 2023 to whatever happens. And Gen Z are also going to play a key role to determine the character of the masses in 2023. But what is true, you know, is the idea that it's all about options and the management of options, right? So options have been arrested, and you have to appreciate that. Before now, when we want to take a decision, we limit our thinking to choices, and that sounds like common sense. So, for example, vote. Don't let anybody take your vote. Register to vote. Make sure you defend your vote. Don't take money to vote. Those things look like the type of universe that is parallel to common sense. So you shouldn't let anybody take your vote, right? Except that your choice in itself is the instrument to perpetuate your slavery. And you see, when colonialism was here, what it tried to do was to control our choices. It told us what to do, how to do it. The human condition cannot endure manipulation if it is known to him. So known manipulation will be resisted by the human condition in itself. So when slavery came, slave trade came, it was trying to control our choices. It lasted till we found out that that's what it was doing, so we rejected it. Then it became colonialism. And then it was doing the same thing, controlling our choices, telling us what to do and how to do it. We found out. What did we do? We rejected it. And then it became independence and democracy for so many African countries, for example. Corruption came in, and then that was controlling our choices as well. The military governments came in, and they were doing the same thing, still working on choices, controlling our choices, telling us what to do. And then it became military men in civilian clothing, and then that also went on controlling our choices. It became apartheid as well in some other countries, and then, but still trying to control our choices. I don't know if they met, but somehow the power centers have sat down to say, if we keep controlling these people's choices, there's going to continue to be this resistance and this rebellion. Why don't we find something more coded, something more, that is more of a program or a virus that is running parallel to their thinking? So what would that be? We know what it is. Give them control over their choice, actually. Call the motivational speakers, call pastors, authority figures, religious leaders. Let them tell them about their choices. So the narrative began. Let nobody take your choice. Let nobody take your vote. Vote. Don't sell your vote, and all of that. If they sell your vote to you, take the money, but don't vote, or don't even take the money at all. And it looks like we are achieving something with those conversations. Except that the real powers have encouraged you to control your choices. They take position in how the options emerge. So we control the options, you control your choices. What is the power of your vote if I give you two fools to choose from? I have arrested your vote by the options available. So I camp around how the options emerge. You camp around the use of your choice. So your choice is the instrument to perpetuate your slavery because you are camped on the wrong side of power. The wrong side of power is to say, I will choose. The right side of power is to determine the options available to choose from. So if you have two crooks to choose from, what is the power of your choice? So that is one level. You want to say something before I go?
Yeah, I was going to say that, so because now we are seeing that even with these options that you're talking about, financially, there's a role that even this thing you're saying, that finance plays in it.
Yes, so I was just going to go there.
Yeah.
So part of that then is, you then find that if we really want to solve problems, we have to transcend the limits of choices. Essentially, that is where voting is. And then hold that in one hand and come to how options emerge. It's not a new principle. So whether some people say I hate Facebook, I prefer Instagram. Whether you hate Facebook or Instagram, you are paying Mark Zuckerberg. Whether you like Toyota or you like Lexus, you are paying the same company, right? It's still the power of options. So the economic issue there is that in that reality, as far as election is concerned, party administration is the key. And that is where the money is being exchanged. So some people are so poor, all they have is money, right? So the guys who manage party administration are not financially poor. So there's nobody on that table that lacks money. It is that there's another type of poverty that transcends the limits of the pocket. And that is strength of character, quality of thinking. That is deep in the solica content. There's poverty at that level. The same poverty then defeats the guy at the administration level and the voter. So what do I mean? All of us who are, everybody on this table and all of us watching us, we are all enslaved to something. Slavery is a necessary part of managing the human, human excesses. Real freedom is the ability to choose what enslaves you. To say that, even say you go to church or you be a slave of righteousness, we are all enslaved to something. True freedom is the ability to choose what enslaves you. Now, to be able to choose what enslaves you, somebody can say, I want to be a slave of righteousness. Somebody can say, I want to be a slave of benevolence. A slave of kindness. You should be a slave of something. So, but to make that choice as to what enslaves you, you need another type of education. That education is not political education. It's solica education. It's to understand who you are, why you are here, what you are about. Then I ask myself, who can do that in 2 years before 2023? How can that happen to 200 million people? How can that happen to 16 million people that we vote in 2 years? To give them that consciousness, because there is an ideological construct that can defeat money. Money is very powerful. And you don't defeat it by, classroom experiences, by saying there's no armed robber that does not know that armed robbery is bad. There's no thief that does not know that to steal is bad. There's rarely any level of foolishness that is unknown to his carrier. There's rarely any. So it's not ignorance of what not to do that is the problem. It is whether you have the willpower, the ideological fortitude to be able to say no to this. And that transcends politics. It's the same reason why somebody steals money in the bank. It's the same reason why somebody is going to say no to a boy or say no to a girl. So quite frankly, you have raised a very critical topic. How we can solve that before 2023, honestly, is more of a prayer point than an objective reason, because the science is not just visible.
Okay. You know what? Let's quickly take a very short. Uti, I'll come to you and Jennifer. Let's just take a very, very short break. Very short, please. Just go and come back. We'll be right back.